So with the All-Star break coming to an end and you seeing my jersey right here, you probably already know what's up. Of course, I'm going to talk about the Atlanta Hawks after the All-Star break. Of course, before I get into this video, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, help me out a little bit. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. Now, whether you're an Atlanta Hawks fan or not, you know that the Atlanta Hawks turned it up after the All-Star break last season. Well, can they do the same thing this season, and how can they do that? Some key players, some reasons why they have struggled out of the gate, and some reasons why they could possibly rebound. Now, of course, getting into the current record, the Atlanta Hawks are 28-30 as of right now. That is 10th in the East. They are the last team in the play-in tournament currently. Of course, going into the rankings, they are currently 8th ranked in offense. The offense has never been the problem for the Atlanta Hawks this season. They've always been great in offense. They have been top 10 for the entire year on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not really going to go too much in the offense. The offense is not a concern for this Atlanta Hawks team. This team is always going to be really good on offense. I mean, when Trae Young's your point guard, averaging just about 28 points per game, along with people like John Collins, people like Bogdanovich, you're going to have a great offense. The Atlanta Hawks offense is nowhere near the problem. We have to get into the defense. The defense has been the main problem for this team this year. They are ranked 22nd in the league in defense. Now, as you guys know, I wanted Ben Simmons to get traded to the Atlanta Hawks during the season, and it just didn't formulate. It didn't happen. Wasn't happening for the Atlanta Hawks, and Ben Simmons ended up getting shipped off to Brooklyn. Of course, Cam Reddish was also traded. He was one of the better defenders on our team. There's also some improvement from earlier in the season. That's something I have to include. The Atlanta Hawks earlier in the season were absolutely horrid on defense, and while it's still not perfect, it definitely has gotten better, so I have to give the Atlanta Hawks credit for that. However, it's crazy that this team is still in playoff contention with a bottom 8 defense in the league. Like, you just have to process that for a second. The Atlanta Hawks have the 22nd ranked defense in the entirety of the NBA, yet they are still in playoff contention. They are still yet in the play-in. They still have a chance, and that's just incredible to me. In my opinion, that signifies how really good this offense has been the entire season. However, going into the little conclusion for the defense, we just have to straight up get better, and there's no doubting that. If the Atlanta Hawks want to participate deep into the playoffs, if they want to be a great team deep into the playoffs, if they want a chance to go deep into the playoffs, then they're going to have to improve this defense rapidly, and they're going to have to do it very, very fast. Of course, last year I'm talking about the Atlanta Hawks started off very, very slow out of the gate last year. We had the head coaching change to Nate McMillan, and the Atlanta Hawks, after the All-Star break, really got into gear. They got into gear. They were able to win most of their games coming out of the All-Star break, and they ended up making the playoffs as a 4th seed. That can definitely happen. Now, of course, with the trade deadline, we're going to have to work with what we have. DeAndre Hunter, Clint Capella, Big O, and even John Collins are all huge defenders for our team. These guys are definitely going to have to step it up, and I'm going to get more into Clint Capella later. However, as far as Onyeka Okongwu, or Big O as his nickname goes, he is a huge defensive piece for the team. I do think the Atlanta Hawks are going to give him more minutes. I think they're going to have to give him more minutes, especially if the playoffs come closer. I definitely think he's going to get a lot more minutes. John Collins, while he's not the world's greatest defender, he does tend to be a pretty good shot blocker. I do think he has a lot of potential on the defensive side of the ball. He definitely has to step it up. DeAndre Hunter, as long as he's not injured, he's going to have an impact on the defensive side for an NBA team. I'm not too worried about him otherwise than his health. Now, of course, going to the Atlanta Hawks key players. The key players for this team to have success during the next part of the season, during the next half of the season, after the All-Star break, whatever you want to call it. That first guy, of course, is point guard Trae Young. Star point guard, in my opinion. He's been the best guard in the league this year. He is having a crazy, incredible season, averaging 27 points and 9 assists. It will be hard to get him to play better defense because, let's face it, he's 6'1", 180. We didn't draft Trae Young to play defense. Trae Young's not in Atlanta to play defense. However, I do definitely think he can play a little bit better. This guy's the most valuable player on our team this season. He's playing like the best point guard in the league. Not really much else to say about Trae Young. Of course, going to our second valuable player, we have John Collins. John Collins is averaging an okay 16-8, not quite having the same impact he had last season. And for the last 2 years, I've expected a huge jump from John Collins, and he hasn't quite given me that. However, I do definitely think he does have a great impact on his team. I do think he provides a great lob person for Trae Young. I do think he provides a good amount of points, a good amount of rebounds, decent amount of everything. He does tend to be a little bit unaggressive, if you will. He's not as aggressive I want him to be when it comes to attacking the rim and, of course, trying to initiate his own offense. However, without further ado, John Collins, another great player. I was honestly expecting him to be traded this offseason or during the season. However, it had to formulate. It has to hasn't happened. So the Atlanta Hawks seem very keen on keeping John Collins as a part of their main core, their main talent, and I'm really, really excited to see what he can do on the second part of the season. I definitely think he's in for a huge improvement, especially given the fact that he just signed a contract extension last offseason. Of course, going to our next player, we have Clint Capella. Now, Clint Capella has really disappointed me this season, and I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Clint Capella, yes, he still is putting up good production, but it's not as impactful as it was last season. Last season, if you ask me, Clint Capella was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. This year, that's not quite the case. He averaged 15 rebounds a game last year, around there. Now he's around 12. Averaged just about 14, 15 points per game last year. Now he's around 11, 12. So Clint Capella, his production has definitely gone down this season. However, I definitely do think he will have a huge impact when it comes to the playoffs and when it comes to getting later into the season. Of course, he also has been a little bit injured, so that's played a huge role into his lack of production. I do expect way better from Clint Capella heading into this later part of the season. However, in terms of the entirety of the season as a whole, Clint Capella has been quite disappointing up to this point. Yes, he has put up great stats. Yes, he has done his thing, if you will. However, just not at the impact he's had last year. I'm looking for a huge boost out of Clint Capella in the second half of the season. And then, of course, we are going to Bogdan Bogdanovic. Bogdanovic, he has been absolutely hot over the last couple of games. He got really hot around this time last season. He got really hot right before the All-Star break this season, averaging around 20 points in his last 5 games. He's looked really, really great the last couple of games. I think Bogey is a huge threat from the three-point line, and I definitely think he will have a great impact in the playoffs. And going to our last player, DeAndre Hunter, major part of our defense, and I really wish he could stay healthy. I think DeAndre Hunter is one of the better perimeter defenders in the entirety of the league when he's healthy. When he is on the Atlanta Hawks team, he really provides us with that perimeter defense we need. Of course, having Trae Young and Bogdanovic, who are serviceable, but let's face it, not the world's greatest defenders. However, going back to DeAndre Hunter, I definitely think he will have a huge impact on the defense. If the Atlanta Hawks want to make it to the playoffs, I think he will have no choice but to have a huge impact on our perimeter defense. DeAndre Hunter is going to be a main guy on this team if the Atlanta Hawks intend on making it far into the playoffs this season. Now, going into a little rebuttal, the Atlanta Hawks are in a big hole, but I definitely think they can turn it around and pull off a top 6, maybe even 4 seed like they did last year. And last year, we were actually worse at the All-Star break. Last year, at the All-Star break, we were 14-20. This year, we are 28-30, so not really a huge hole to dig out of, not as big as it was last year, so definitely doable by the Atlanta Hawks. Now, going to my prediction, I think Nick McMillan does turn around this team. I think Trae Young continues to put up very, very solid production. I have the Atlanta Hawks going 46-36 with a 7 seed win in the play-in tournament, and I definitely think they will make the playoffs as a 7th or 8th seed. Either way, the Atlanta Hawks, I have them making the playoffs. That's my prediction for them. You let me know your prediction in the comments. But of course, that's going to end the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe. The Atlanta Hawks are definitely in for a very, very interesting next part of the season. This is going to determine, and I think these next maybe 4-ish weeks, this next month, really determines the seedings of the playoffs, and I think it's going to be really, really important for the Atlanta Hawks if they intend on making the playoffs. However, that's going to end this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. You guys help me out a little bit. TikTok, Spotify, Instagram, all those links will be in the description. You guys go follow, subscribe, like those up for me, whether you follow them or not. I wish that you do nothing but stay loved and stay blessed. And without further ado, I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching.